Hello everyone, it's the Pathfinder. So today is officially the release day for Destined Rival. Of course, I know all around the world, people have been getting their hands on the products earlier. If you are buying from LGS, it's probably a few days earlier to about a week earlier, like in Singapore. But I just want to take this opportunity to let everybody be a little bit more aware of what is going on and what I feel may happen to the prices in Destined Rival, particularly because although here it says Journey Together and Destined Rival, but I'm only using Journey Together as a reference and to show you what may happen, because these are back-to-back sets and both sets are released at a very high hype. Of course, there are people who say that, Journey Together after, 1.5 months or 2 months released, and people start saying that actually it's just a mid set, but when it was released, everybody was hyping it up. Everybody was very happy with the set, especially after Prismatic Evolution. So let's take a look. What you see here, these two lines are actually the price of Mewtwo and Garchomp at release. This is way at the beginning, as soon as it's released and people start getting their hand on it. So this is about 1.5 months out. The price you see here are actually an average of eBay and TCG Player. So PokeData.io, actually they take the average of those two. Also, you can see that at the beginning they were selling for $850 for the Mewtwo, and the Cynthia's Garchomp is $350, and the rest are slightly lower, but these are the two most expensive cards. And right now, today is the release date, it's almost half of the price, close to half. This is also close to half, about 60% of the price. Oh, okay, this one, I think the Garchomp is slightly higher than maybe 70%. Yeah, something like that, but this is close to half, right? What you can see here is just a very big drop. If we are looking at the total set value over here, you can also see that at pre-release, this is close about when it was pre-released 2 weeks before. So it was peaked at about $4,439, and right now it's dropped to about close to 3,000. What can this tell us? Of course, there are many people who also look at Journey Together at release and they say that, oh, Journey Together actually, oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong one. Journey Together also started out pretty strong, because at the beginning, it was also, a pre-release at about close to $3,000 set value. What happened after that is it drops and drops and drops, and right now is less than $800, $765. Of course, there are people who will say that the cards are easier to get because it's a really small set and most people can get their cards relatively easier. So if you are looking at just the cards themselves, similarly, it released at a very high price. These are the top 3 cards. You have the Lily Scafari, the Salamence, and the Zoroark. And right now, it's less than half of where it was released, right? This is Journey Together is a smaller set, so we probably will not see the same thing happening to the Mewtwo and the Garchomp. But it will not be a big surprise for me to see that this drop even lower than this, at least for another 20-30% until it settles down. Who knows where. But how does that affect the booster box price? And obviously, booster box price is a little bit more stable than the set and the card prices. Whether we want to admit it or not, it does affect it, because the less valuable cards in the market means that the gamblers who are looking for the money, who are looking for pricey card to grade and sell, it just gives them less motivation to try to rip open the packs, right? Then the packs will be left for the collectors to collect, and people who are actually playing them, who wants to open up the cards. And that should mean that the demand will soften a little, although not by much, because at the moment the booster boxes are still coming in waves. At least in Singapore, that's true. I'm not sure the next wave whether it's going to be the enhanced booster box or not, but from my supplier, what they told me is that Maxoff, or the distributor over here in Singapore, they are still releasing them in waves, and whether they will really fulfill whatever they have ordered, we do not know. But we know that they are going to have a few more waves coming in. At what price and at what volume, we are not too sure about that, but we just have to wait, right? So at release it was $268, and right now it's about $200. So this is what I actually really wanted to let you guys know, especially on the single side, please be careful. If you are just looking to get the singles, I really suggest to wait, because there are also people who say that, you know, the Japanese cards are usually much cheaper than the English card. It's closer to about, right now, if I just compare some of the sets, it's closer to about 1.2, 120%. So if you just look at the Super Electric Breaker and Paradise Dragona at the moment, it's in the Japanese sets, if you add them up, it's slightly more than 1,050, and Surging Spark is about 1,255. I mean, at the earlier stage, it may be true, but because the Japanese set is released a lot earlier than English set, so the English set will take some time to cool down and settle down. So I think maybe somewhere between 1.2 times to 1.5 times is a little bit more reasonable. In fact, for Journey Together, I believe the Japanese set is actually almost the same as English set, right? So don't take that into consideration when you are buying. If you are looking to buy singles and seeing that, oh, this price is actually close to, you know, maybe only 1.5 times of the Japanese price, it doesn't mean that it will not go any lower, right? We now look at the two sets that makes up Destined Rival, which is Hot Air Arena and the Glory of Team Rocket. This is during the release of Hot Air Arena, and this is during Glory of Team Rocket. So you can see that at release is higher. This is very normal. So if you add them up, it's close to $2,600, and it has been dropping quite consistently. So if you are looking closer to within this 1 month, if you add two of them up again, this is closer to about $1,600. And $1,600, if you go by the same ratio, or maybe even slightly higher, let's say if the English side, they appreciate the art a little bit more than the Japanese side, let's say if it goes maybe 1.5 times, right? $1,600 times 1.5, and that is about 2,400. That just shows that this set prices of the Destined Rival have probably a little bit more way to drop. I won't say that it will definitely drop to, you know, into the 2,500 range, but it's going to be close, I believe, especially because we have seen it in Journey Together, we have seen it in Surging Spark, which is also another strong set. If I keep going back, we are going to see the same thing, because actually I did look at them as well, but I'm not going to show all of them here. Yeah, but so this is something that everybody must be careful of, especially if you're into singles, collecting singles or investing in singles. Please do not think that, oh, the price is going to stay high like in Prismatic Evolution. That is quite a outlier, I would say, a special case. In this set, because the set is not a special set, pull rate and everything seems to be quite similar to any of the other main sets. So we probably will expect this to continue to drop close to about maybe 1.5 times of a total of these two. So that will land in the range of about $2,200 to $2,500 set value. That also means that the singles, especially the top one, will continue to drop into the next a month or so, or a month to 2 months time. Yeah, so please do not FOMO. So where do I think the Team Rocket or the Destined Rival price will go? At the moment is still dropping, settling down, but unfortunately Pokédex.io, they have not included, you know, Destined Rival products into their system. I'm not sure why. Maybe tomorrow when I can add them in, and we'll see what happens. I really will strongly suggest waiting, because at the moment it's about 260 in Singapore as well, 270 USD, so 300 plus, but I honestly think it's going to drop, because people can actually find them outside. I mean, in the retail store, although it's at MSRP or, you know, 10% above MSRP, it is still a lot cheaper than the scalper price that you're going to find in everywhere, including in Singapore. They are selling for close to 260, 270. Right, I'm just going to end the video showing you what you can find in TCG Player as well as on eBay. Let's start with eBay first, because it's not very good news, because I just look at the recently sold or completed sales. Seems like the price is still quite high. This is about 260 USD to 270. Price is still pretty high, but just give it a few more days because I really believe it's going to drop, because if you look at TCG Player, the sales today, this is in the last 1 month, it was pretty high, 260, 270, and yesterday it was 258. But if you look at the sale today, the recorded sale 30th May, which is today, most of them sold at about 230, 235. This is American dollar, so if you convert it to Singapore dollar, it's less than $300. So if you want to ship it to Singapore, if you have a forwarder in the US, actually I think you can buy this. I mean, you have to consider the tax as well, but that shows you that once it is released and most people can start selling them in the open market, it's going to drop. Once these are all sold out, is the price going to stay here or are they going to go up? Nobody knows. But it really does show, even though most people think that this is a better set than Journey Together, but the price does not reflect the same way, because I really remember during release for Journey Together, price was higher than this, right? And it took actually some time for it to drop below to the price they are at the moment. Now they are at about $200. Take a look at this. If you just look at the sales, recent sales data is about $210, but if we are looking back to when it was released, this is in March 28, if I'm not wrong, it's $250. So right before release it was $270. It's much even higher than what Destined Rivals is selling 2 days before. So, and it was at $250 and it stayed around the same price as what Destined Rivals is selling at the moment for close to a month actually, until later then it start dropping to 210, 220, and at the moment is, you know, closer to 210, right? Yeah, so I believe Destined Rival is probably going to stay in a similar path as this one. If all you can find $300 box, I think you should be a little bit more patient. I mean, unless you really have to rip it right now, or you need to, you know, do a rip and ship business or something like that where you can resell it at a higher price. Otherwise, I think it makes more sense to wait. Yeah, that's all I wanted to share. See you in the next one.